After Koba killed Caesar, he became completely ruthless. He led the apes in an attack on the human base. After taking control of the base, he began killing every human who tried to escape. Some people ran for their lives, while others kept fighting back. One man stayed behind to protect the others, but Koba quickly captured him. Koba threw a metal bar to Ash and ordered him to kill the human.
No.
But Ash refused to obey, because Caesar had taught them, apes must never kill unarmed humans. Then Ash threw the metal bar on the ground. When Koba saw he was still loyal to Caesar, he completely lost control. To frighten every ape, and make sure no one challenged him again, Koba grabbed Ash, and dragged him to the edge of the building. Then in front of the entire ape colony, he threw Ash from the roof. Ash died from the fall.
Caesar, gone. Apes, follow. Koba, no.
Every ape nearby was terrified, and no one dared question Koba again. Soon, all the humans who tried to escape were captured, but Koba had no idea. Caesar had survived the shooting and the fall. After Malcolm and the others found him, they immediately carried him to safety. Caesar was badly wounded and needed surgery as soon as possible, but the medicine and tools they needed were still inside the human base. Malcolm decided to risk his life and get them, because he knew only Caesar could stop the war now. Malcolm quietly entered the base and quickly found everything needed for surgery, but just as he was about to leave, Blue Eyes suddenly spotted him. When Blue Eyes realized this was the human his father had always trusted, he did not shoot. He simply turned around and started to leave. When Malcolm realized Blue Eyes had spared him, he quickly told him Caesar was still alive. Not long after, Malcolm returned to the old house with the medicine, and Blue Eyes came with him. The moment Blue Eyes saw his father's wounds, he bared his teeth at the humans. Caesar quickly stopped him and told his son this was all part of Koba's plan. Koba used a human gun to shoot him, and Koba burned down the ape home. Then he blamed everything on the humans. Caesar tried to keep talking, but Ellie quickly stopped him. He needed to save his strength. After emergency surgery, Caesar was finally out of danger. When he woke up, he immediately asked about Koba. Blue Eyes told his father every ape who refused to follow Koba had been locked away. Even Ash had been thrown from a building and killed. Caesar knew he was still too badly injured. If he appeared before the apes like this, they might no longer follow him. But no matter what, he had to stop Koba before more apes died for nothing.
Koba, no. And those will not follow. Not if I must do something to stop them.
Let me help you.
Then, Blue Eyes returned to the human base. In front of the imprisoned apes, he drew the shape of the window from Caesar's old home. The moment Morris saw it, he understood Caesar was still alive. Using a car mirror, Blue Eyes warned everyone to stay quiet. When night finally arrived, he gave the signal to move. Morris and the others immediately broke free from their chains. Then they worked together to push the prison truck uphill. Blue Eyes waited above them and pulled everyone out of the cage one by one. The imprisoned humans also used the confusion to escape. Meanwhile, Caesar looked around the home where he once lived and slowly walked through every room. When he noticed a camera on the table, he carefully picked it up. The moment he turned it on, old videos recorded by his adoptive father, Will, appeared in front of him.
Good. Home. This is your home. Your home.
At that moment, years of memories came rushing back. When Malcolm woke up, Caesar slowly put the camera down.
Video. A good man. Like you.
Then, he saw members of his colony outside the window. Caesar immediately walked outside and looked at Morris and his old friends with relief.
Must go. No.
Malcolm decided to lead them himself through the subway tunnels and into the tower. They would soon arrive at the tower. There was no more time to waste, but just as everyone prepared to leave, gunshots suddenly came from the distance. Every ape and Malcolm immediately became alert. Malcolm exchanged signals with the people in the distance and confirmed they were human survivors. Then he gave Caesar the route leading to the tower. He told Caesar to take the apes and leave first, while he went to find Dreyfus. When Malcolm found Dreyfus, he was excitedly pointing at a map on the wall. The humans had contacted a military base in the north, and reinforcements reinforcements were already on the way. At the same time, Dreyfus was preparing to destroy the entire tower and kill every ape inside. After hearing this, Malcolm realized the situation was even more dangerous. To give Caesar more time, he stood up while the radio operator was sending a message, walked directly toward a soldier, and took his gun. Then he aimed it at Dreyfus. Everyone nearby was shocked, but Malcolm was only doing this to buy Caesar more time. At the top of the tower, Caesar had already arrived with his closest allies. When Koba saw Caesar was still alive, the look on his face instantly changed. The new leader and the old leader stood face to face, and the entire tower became tense. Koba told Caesar to stay out of his way, but the two of them had lived completely different lives with humans. Caesar had experienced human love, and believed humans and apes could live together, but Koba had been tortured by humans for years, and his heart was filled with hatred and violence. The conflict between them could no longer be settled with words. Only one of them would leave this fight alive.
Caesar. Weak.
Koba, weaker.
The two apes immediately attacked each other. Caesar had just gone through surgery, so his body was clearly weaker. Koba quickly pushed him from the platform, but before Caesar fell, he grabbed Koba and pulled him down too. Luckily, Caesar was not badly hurt, but Koba landed on a sharp metal plate that cut deep into his side. The intense pain made Koba even more violent. He grabbed a metal bar and prepared to kill Caesar while he was still weak. But even though Caesar was badly wounded, he still had the mind of a true leader. He refused to fight Koba head-on. Instead, he kept avoiding his attacks and forced Koba to waste his strength. At the same time, Caesar kept provoking him until Koba completely lost control. When Koba charged again, Caesar saw his chance and struck the wound with both hands. After fighting for so long, Koba's movements became slower. Soon, both of them were completely exhausted. When neither one could defeat the other, Koba pushed over a nearby metal structure. The falling structure destroyed part of the roof. As the tower began collapsing, Caesar and Koba both grabbed chains hanging above the ground. Meanwhile, inside the underground tunnel, Malcolm was still pointing the gun at Dreyfus. Malcolm begged him not to destroy the tower and asked him to give Caesar a chance. He also wanted the innocent apes to have a chance to survive. But Dreyfus did not care whether the apes lived or died, because to him, the tower was filled with mindless animals, and everything he was doing was meant to save humanity. While Malcolm was distracted, Dreyfus suddenly pressed the detonator. A massive explosion instantly destroyed the entire underground tunnel. After the explosion, Caesar rushed into the wreckage and desperately pulled trapped apes to safety. But Koba still only cared about defeating Caesar. He did not care whether his own people survived. He picked up a gun and opened fire on Caesar. Many innocent apes were hit and fell from the tower. Koba's actions finally pushed Caesar too far. To stop him from killing more apes, Caesar threw himself at Koba. The impact nearly sent Koba into the bottom of the tower. He barely caught a metal plate and hung high above the ground. The wound in his side left him too weak to climb back up. As Koba struggled to hold on, Caesar slowly walked toward him. Koba reached out his hand and begged Caesar to pull him up. He kept reminding Caesar, apes must never kill apes. But as Caesar looked at Koba, he finally understood the truth. Koba was no longer one of them.
You are not ape.
Caesar let go, and Koba finally paid for everything he had done. As Koba fell into the tower, the apes finally welcomed back their true leader, Caesar. He was still the ape king they trusted and followed most. Then, the apes found Malcolm inside the underground tunnel. When Caesar saw him, he immediately ordered the apes to release him. Malcolm told Caesar they had to leave immediately because the humans had contacted armies from other regions, and reinforcements were already coming. But Caesar knew running away no longer meant anything. The apes had started the war, and the humans would not let it go. To protect his colony, Caesar had no choice but to stay and fight.
Ape started war, and human will not forgive. You must go before fighting begins, my friend.
Then, he told Malcolm to take his family and leave the city immediately. Malcolm was the second kind human Caesar had met after his adoptive father Will. In the end, Caesar showed his old kindness and said goodbye to his human friend. But an even greater war was slowly moving toward the apes.